Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Furry Found Footage. Since I just did a film and television episode in Rainbow Bright, I thought I would come back to commercials. There are really so many to discuss, and I want to keep arranging them by species. So this time I've got a collection of horse commercials to delight your eyes and ears. Horses are near and dear to my heart. In fact, this summer I recently rode a horse for the first time and the second time and was totally hooked. So I wanted to make this compilation while the feelings were fresh. I'd like to also mention that this time I'm doing them in no particular order, so there is no list of, top cutest to least cutest. These are just 10 that I found interesting and really my top 10, but just kind of mixed around. Shall we get started?
The Berry Bears present...
We're lost, and no more fruit snacks.
I'm Flight, the magic horse. I'll take you home.
The berry bear bushes.
And your folks.
Flight, you found them.
Can you stay?
These fruit snacks can. Flight, the magic horse, new inside the Berry Bears fruit snacks.
With wings.
Just like me.
So our first commercial is the Berry Bears from 1989, and this commercial features the amazing flying horse named Flight. It's a little lazy, but let's go with it. I distinctly remember eating these. In fact, these were kind of the sister gummies to Shark Bites, which was another very popular gummy back in the early 90s, late 80s. Like the great white sharks in Shark Bites, the white horse gummy in Berry Bears was the most delicious gummy, and everyone knows that. It was also the rarest gummy. There's a few of these commercials, but I wanted to focus on Flight's introduction. He's this gorgeous pink Pegasus who saves the Berry Bears by leading them out of the forest, and then strangely they ask if he can stay, and he says no and shakes a bunch of gummy horses out of his wings, like maybe they're feathers or something. I don't quite know where he is getting these, but he has decided to add to the box of Berry Bears with his own brand. For those of you who saw my last episode on Rainbow Bright, while I don't think this is the same actor as Starlight, I do think that his voice was maybe meant to recall Starlight. Flight is a beautifully animated horse. Near as I could tell, these commercials were done by Santa Monica-based Duck Soup Studios, which did some of my other favorite commercials, including one for Fruit Loops. I was able to find that Lorenzo Martinez did rough layout of these commercials and many, many others. Look him up if you're interested. And one of their animation directors at the time was John Howley, so he may have also participated in this commercial. I don't have time to show you all of them. You can certainly look them up, but I do want to show you one more. So let's take a look at that.
It's Flight's birthday, and the Berry Bears are baking a surprise.
Add a pinch of this, a dash of that. Don't forget some fruit snacks. Now play till it rises.
And rise it did.
Surprise! Birthday cake-shaped fruit snack.
How'd you do that?
Piece of cake.
Surprise! Now there's a big surprise waiting for you. A surprise birthday gift. One in marked boxes of Berry Bears.
All right, so if the horse gummies were delicious, the cake gummies were transcendental. Of course, everything tastes better in our memory, but it's really true that things were made with better ingredients the further you go back. But maybe it's just nostalgic bias talking. So despite the fact that Flight said he can't stay, he is back for his birthday, and the bears are making him a cake. Of course, being that they're children, I don't know why their parents aren't helping them, they royally screw up this cake, and for some reason it grows and grows and grows until it explodes. The cake is also gorgeously animated. I do love a good, messy, sloppy, frosting-y cake. But more than that, I love that Flight's color has changed. He's now blonde and white, and I think that's to reflect the gummies. In fact, there were also color-changing Flight gummies at one point, and there's a commercial that goes along with those. But there's an inclusion also in these boxes. They had little figurines. Some of you may remember that in Shark Bites, you could get little shark figurines, and eventually they had glow-in-the-dark Megamouth shark figurines, which were awesome. But they also had these Flight figurines in these bright pastel colors that are really quite well made. We simply don't get prizes like this anymore, even in boxes of premium cereals. All we really get is cardboard garbage and everything. We get cards that tell you to go and download an app where you can see a picture of a toy. Kids should not be leading complete digital lives. I think they do need some time with actual toys and with actual peers in the same rooms as them. But before I grind my axe too sharp, let's move on to the next commercial.
เรียกแรงม้าที่อู้งานให้กลับมาทำงานเต็มพลังด้วย PTT Max 91 จากปตท.
Those of you who follow my Twitter account @furry-footage may have noticed this commercial in the past. I posted it a few months ago just because it's so incredible. Is that the right word? This is an ad for a gas station chain called PTT Max, which appears to be a subdivision of AMPM. So this ad is from Thailand, and it was done by Suthan Petsuan at Matching Studio. The opening image of a horse in a bikini with a wig on is funny enough, but then it cuts and we realize that this is a karaoke video being played in a nightclub. We even see lyrics come on screen. There's this incredible, huge, living horse puppet that they've built in this commercial, and it's singing karaoke. And to represent the horses that PTT Max can put in your gas tank, there's also other horses around the bar playing darts, drinking beer, playing pool, and generally screwing things up for the humans on account of their big. But what I find amusing is that the girls seem to love them. Even though there's this altercation with the guy at the pool table, these horses seem to be pretty popular with the girls at the bar. It's hard to believe this is from 2001. In fact, it's hard to believe it was ever made at all. The title of the commercial is actually Playboy, which take that as it is. Let's move on to our next commercial.
À teneur garantie en fruits, découvrez Orangina Cowboy, existe aussi en indien.
Who wouldn't expect the Orangina commercials to show up at some point? Before I talk too much, I'm going to show you one more commercial with a horse from the Orangina line.
Pour lutter contre la mauvaise haleine, rien ne vaut Orangina et son inimitable saveur fruitée.
So there's a great many Orangina commercials, and all of them started coming out around 2008-2009. They were directed by Psyop at a company named Stink, with animation by The Mill. These were British studios, and they knew exactly what they were doing with these commercials. The first is advertising an unfortunately named Cowboy and Indian Orangina brand. And we can see this Daisy Dukes and tied-up flannel-wearing mare spinning a lariat and generally enjoying her ride on this giant bottle of Orangina. It's quite suggestive, especially when she gets thrown off and the bottle discharges in a great burst of Orangina soda. There's a lot to love with her design, and really all the designs in the Orangina commercials. They're the sort of furry that don't apologize for being furry. This other ad features another mare in the bathroom as she's considering her unfresh breath. One of my favorite things that Orangina was doing in these commercials was advertising things that their product didn't do. There's a commercial where a woman is using it to clean her floors, and now we have this commercial where the mare is using it to freshen her breath. I've never had Orangina despite really loving these ads, but I love the way they've designed whole lives, indeed whole environments for these animal characters in each of the commercials. The addition of a 3D graphic animated look at the Orangina working its magic in her mouth is really the piece de resistance of this commercial. So let's move on to the next one.
Yikes! Stripes! Fruit stripe gum! It's a yummy fruity one! Stick a stripe of fun with the flying flip-flop! Blow a woo a pit-pot! Yikes! Stripes! Fruit stripe gum! A really wilder! A ton of fun a miler! A flavor overloader! Wild fruit exploder! Yikes! Stripes! Fruit stripe gum. Meant from outer space, plunk a pop in your face. Fruity flavors in the pack. Gooey gobble, fun snack, yikes, stripes.
Fruit stripe gum and bubble gum.
Any 90s kid is going to remember these commercials. This is Fruit Stripe Gum from 1992. The name of the zebra is actually Yipes, so the first thing you hear in this commercial is Yipes, Stripes. I find that the tempo of the music and the way that the lyrics are introduced is kind of similar to the Kraft macaroni and cheese commercials with Cheezosaurus Rex.
Yikes, stripes. Fruit stripe gum. It's a yummy, fruity one. Stick a stripe of fun with the flying flip-flop.
It's universally known something happens when Kraft cheese meets macaroni. Because when the cheese starts flowing, Kraft gets your noodle going.
In researching this, I was surprised to find that Fruit Stripe Gum was not a new thing in the 90s. I always assumed it was made maybe in the late 80s and caught on in the 90s, but actually Fruit Stripe Gum has been around in various forms since the 1960s under the Beech Nut Gum label. Check out this old commercial from the 60s.
More flavor to chew, more flavors to choose. Like new Beech Nut Fruit Stripe Gum with 5 different flavors in every pack. Lime stripe, lemon stripe, orange stripe, mixed fruit and cherry stripe. And there's extra flavor in every colorful stripe. For flavor that starts lively, stays lively, buy Beech Nut, buy gum.
More flavor to chew.
So here you see various animals with stripes advertising 5-flavor Fruit Stripe Gum. The zebra is still there, but he's not the focus. I wonder what happened to the other animals over the years, especially because there seems to be a bit of a rivalry between these guys. Let's fast forward to the 1970s, where it appears that the last horse standing is the zebra.
Tickets, please. It's fun to tickle a tongue with fruit stripe gum. Tickets, please. Tickle your tongue with fruit stripe gum. It's fun. Each pack has different tickling fruit stripe flavors. Cherry stripe, lemon stripe, orange stripe, lime stripe. It tickles your tongue. It's fun.
It'll never tickle my tongue, zebra.
It does. It does.
Tickle your tongue with beech nut fruit stripe gum. It's fun.
Even though this ad is from the 1970s, you can really see the beginning of the 90s theming of the product making boring old adults cool again. Stripes seems to be a bit of a chaos gremlin coming into this circus and giving people this fruit stripe gum that makes them go something like insane. In fact, he's not really presented as having all his screws properly tightened. But you know what? 8 sticks is a great deal for 10 cents, so I think he can stick around. Buckle up, because this next one is a doozy. It's several minutes long and it's from 1965. It contains a really cute bull and a lovely mare, so let's take a look.
La mucca Carolina e le lettere di Annibale.
Mia adorata, mio unico bene, l'altro giorno, con la mia bella bicicletta nuova, mi recavo al lavoro. Al lavoro? Chi? Me? Quando? Cosa ti vedo, mo? Una povera cavallina magra da far paura, con 2 occhioni, 2 soli, ma storti, ma così storti.
Bel giovine, può darmi un passaggio? Devo prendere la corriera e sono già in ritardo.
Mosorbole? Ma certo che ci metto la Spider a disposizione. La si accomoda. Ci dico, si accomodi bene. Oh, si tenga bene stretta, Si tenga bene stretta e si appoggi pure.
Aiuto! Aiuto! Aiuto!
Cosa è successo?
Ve lo dico io, disgraziato, incosciente,
No, ferma! Hai preso, ma
Ma guarda questa gente di città, quando si amano, si hanno un cuore a così, grande così.
Beh, mia adorata, cosa ti devo dire? Alla corriera doveva pure arrivarci ed io ce l'ho portata. E concludo, mia dolcezza, il sempre tuo Annibale che si strugge per il suo lontano amor, vero, naturale e genuino.
Genuino come Invernizi milione alla panna. Dal buon latte appena munto. Più panna fresca, Invernizzi milione alla panna, il fior fiore dei formaggini. Invernizzi milione alla panna fa crescere i vostri bambini sani, forti e robusti perché è nutriente.
Io voglio sempre invernizzi milione alla panna.
E ti regala la mucca Carolina.
Now, despite my heritage, I don't speak Italian, so if anyone would like to add a translation or something of that nature in the comments, especially of the letter, I would be very grateful. This commercial is for Invernizzi Formaggio Milione cheese. These were little creamy cheeses, kind of like Baby Bell or the Laughing Cow. Now, the main character of this brand is actually the little cow who appears at the beginning. She's in multiple commercials, and she's the one getting this love letter. But we have this charming bull fellow named Onibale, I think, and he's kind of riding his bike along, and he sees this gorgeous mare looking for a ride. I just love the way she's designed. She's very much an old-fashioned cartoon, but she has a very furry sensibility in the fact that she's got hair, she's got a bow, a dress, and those lovely lips. I just love the way she flirts with him, and he immediately loses it. He sets her up for a ride on his bike, but he's not really paying attention to where he's going, and that gets them in deep trouble. After a run-in with this hen, the bull's mare girlfriend beats him with a 2x4, or maybe it's a fence post. The next time we see them, she's riding him in a very, shall we say, interesting manner, and he appears to be completely dominated and is trudging along dutifully. I just love this commercial, and you may be wondering why it's so long. Well, it's from Italian television, and in fact, there was a broadcast running from 1957 to 1977 called Carosello. This broadcast was a huge deal in Italy at the time. It was used to advertise products, but not the way we do here in the United States. It was a sort of sketch comedy and short film broadcast that combined several-minute films and animations of various kinds to advertise various products. There are a ton of these online. I actually ordered some DVDs from Italy in order to have access to more of these, so definitely check out Carosello if you're interested in seeing more. Shall we move on to our next one?
At the Kansas State Fair, you can hang with the hogs. Check out the studs.
Like, let's totally get some funnel cakes.
And pick up some bunnies. From the games to the grandstand, you'll have 2 tons of fun. The Kansas State Fair. It's a wild ride, baby. September 11th through 20th in Hutchinson.
Okay, so this ad for the Kansas State Fair is from 2009, and it was produced by the Greteman Group. They actually did a few of these commercials, and if you check their website, they're very proud of them. And I think they should be. They have this flat paper cutout style and advertise the fair using various animals and animal couples. In fact, it starts out with a pair of hogs, one guy riding a motorcycle and one girl in the back. It encourages fairgoers to check out the studs, and studs apparently are actual studs, actual stallions driving trucks wearing human clothes. The kicker for me really is when the stud drives up to the bunnies in his truck, tips his hat and picks both of them up, and then the commercial encourages you to pick up some bunnies. Wow, they're really not obscuring what they're talking about here, are they? This commercial just has a great visual style, a good voiceover, and I think the copy is really funny. This ad would definitely make me want to go to any fair. Let's move on to the next one. So I don't have as much information on this commercial as on the others, but this is 1987's Circus Fun cereal.
It's Circus Fun right in your bowl, and you're gonna want to come flying.
Oh, the music! There's a new marshmallow animal inside Circus Fun cereal.
What is it?
Does it roar?
Yes!
Is it strong?
Yes!
Is it striped?
Yes! And it'll make Circus Fun an even more spectacular part of this complete breakfast.
Where's the new animal?
In Circus Fun cereal. 'Cause now it's horses and hoops, balls and bears, elephants, lions, and...
The 80s and 90s really seem to have been the heyday for kids' cereal, especially as it concerns animal animation, given that so many mascots were animals. Circus Fun centers around this jolly clown encouraging people to eat his cereal. There's a few animals that show up, including this charming purple horse who turns into a ring, a round bouncing bear who can morph into a green elephant, and a roaring lion. At the end of this first commercial, they advertised a new animal upcoming in the cereal, and I want to show you the commercial that I had to dig to find that shows us what that animal is, and actually gives the horse enough personality to have me include him in this video.
So what's the new animal in Circus Fun cereal?
I know. It's the giraffe.
It's the gorilla.
Another bear?
No, it's a marshmallow tiger.
A marshmallow tiger. It makes Circus Fun a ferocious part of this complete breakfast.
A baby tiger.
No, Circus Fun has tigers too.
You're gonna want to come flying.
Oh, horses and hoops.
Balls and bears.
Elephants and lions.
And tigers.
There's a lot to love with this commercial. I think my favorite thing is how all the animals work together. They seem to really like each other. So they're all taking a guess at who the new animal is, and it turns out it's this little tiger who they just adore, and I think that's really cute. They're kind of like 4 dads with a new baby. I guess 5 dads if you count the clown. And there is some super expressive animation in each of these animals. They're really all adorable, and I love that they each have their own color scheme. There is so much personality packed into 30 seconds of animation that it's almost unbelievable. I really wish we had gotten a circus-themed cartoon in the late 80s or early 90s that actually had a lot of these talking animals in it. But before I get too pouty, let's move on to the next one.
Hey, lads. It says here that an American oil tycoon wants to buy Webster's brewery and transport the whole lot brick by brick from Heinz to Texas. It says he's over here right now. Well, you don't seem very worried.
Oh, I dare say he'll change his mind. Eh, Jed?
Aye. I think he will.
Alright, so we have another commercial with horse puppets. This one is for Webster's Yorkshire Bitters, which is a beer that was launched in 1982. Many of the ads featured dray horses pulling brewers' carts, but some of them also featured these big, talking, moving horse puppets. By the way, can you tell this commercial is from the UK? They've captured the oil tycoon who wanted to purchase the brewery, and they're holding him hostage until that changes. There's something very interesting about the way these commercials appeal to class interests, particularly blue-collar interests. Because what could be more blue-collar than a plowman and his heavy horses? I'd like to also show you another ad where they use real horses.
I love going up this hill.
Aye.
Every step takes me closer to heaven. There's Star and Garter and Webster's Yorkshire Bitter, that unsurpassable pint, brewed with pure Pennine water.
Can't be far off now, Uncle. I've just seen an angel. What she couldn't do for me.
She couldn't pull you a pint of Webster's, lad?
No.
Well then, that's no basis for a stable relationship.
It's right tasty as Webster's.
So we have a younger horse talking to his uncle, also a horse, and they're discussing heaven and the delightful taste of their product when they happen across a mare who caused the younger one to say, "I've just seen an angel," and then kind of grumble and moan a little bit, which I find to be very, But the horse's uncle points out that this mare could not pour him a pint of Webster's, which is all that they really want. Indeed, she has hooves just like them and could not pour anything, much less a beer. I love at the end we get the joke about a stable relationship. I've seen that used multiple times in a furry context, so kudos to them. Unfortunately, Webster's Yorkshire Bitters was discontinued when Scottish and Newcastle purchased the Webster's Bitter brands in 1995. I guess all we have at this point are the memories. Before I move on the subject of dray horses, I'd like to show you this beautiful Richard Williams ad from the 80s.
The ploughman has a taste for the country.
Hold on, go together.
A bit old-fashioned, some might say. But then, he likes things done the way they should be. And a proper country pickle, as far as he's concerned, should be rich and dark. And made with traditional country ingredients. Which is probably why he feels so at home on this one.
Steady now.
They really did not have to go this hard with this sweeping rotational view of these horses and their plowmen. But they did, and I love that. Richard Williams never leaves anything on the floor. Anyway, this is an ad for Heinz Plowman's Pickle, which is a product that you can still buy. Some of you may be thinking, well, what do horses have to do with pickles? But Heinz Plowman Pickle is not a bunch of pickles in a jar. It's actually a spread that you're supposed to put on your sandwich that you have for lunch out in the fields. And after seeing the ingredients with things like molasses and carrots, I kind of want to try it. Every time I see this commercial, I can't help but think of Jethro Tull's Heavy Horses, and I get a tear in my eye. Heavy Horses. Thank you, Heavy Horses, for your service. Let's move on.
Waffalo Bill, come quick! Messy James is holding up the train!
Oh, he's gonna need some Waffelos cereal.
There goes that train!
Give him some Waffelos cereal, Bill.
Try these crunchy little critters. They taste like little waffles with maple syrup flavor.
Waffelos is a delicious part of this nutritious breakfast.
Why do they call you Messy James anyway?
I don't know. Waffelos cereal tastes like little waffles.
Yeah.
We're back with another cereal. These are Waffelos, which are another cereal from the golden age of television commercial cereal tie-ins. And this ad has a cowboy theme. The cleverly named Waffalo Bill is this kind of silly cowboy out on adventures, and his straight man is not a man at all, but a horse. This horse is apparently kind of living as a human because he's getting a haircut when we first see him. Or should I say a mane cut. He also is only shown walking on 2 feet in this one, not on 4, so something's going on with him. He does seem to be wearing a saddle and bridle though, so that suggests that he's being ridden. But let's take a look at another commercial with him.
Hi, get along, little blueberry critters, get along.
Aren't they supposed to be doggies, Bill?
Not anymore. I gotta round up all these blueberry-flavored critters to make my blueberry-flavored Waffelos. Since folks tasted them, I did all the blueberry-flavored critters I can find.
They sure taste good.
Yep, they're like crunchy little blueberry-flavored waffles.
And a good part of this nutritious breakfast. Waffelos cereal, maple flavor and blueberry flavor.
Gotcha.
Take a look at how Waffalo Bill rides horse in this ad. He is being piggybacked on him. So horse is not a normal horse. Not only does he not run around on all 4s, he talks, and he has other talents. He actually plays guitar in another one of the commercials.
Hey, what's that?
I just love the world building that they've done, and the idea of a blueberry waffle cereal sounds really good to me right now. I just hope that horse gets his fair share of the blueberry waffle cereal because I really think I'd like to see the result of that. Next up is my last commercial, and in some ways I've saved the best for last. I flipped head over heels when I saw this ad because if you know me, it's perfectly me. Let's take a look.
Duracell, you can't top the copper top.
This 1995 stop-motion Duracell battery ad features a Baroque ball complete with chamber music that turns into the Bee Gees' Stayin' Alive. This dashing unicorn is apparently so hot that this swan lady faints at the sight of him. He slides down the banister and proceeds to outdance everyone, including a crocodile, a frog, a giraffe, an elephant, a pig, a hippo, and hey, a person. But wait, that's not a person. That's revealed to be a mouse halfway through the commercial, which I don't know why they did that. It's kind of creepy, but I love it. I also love that in this Baroque Rococo dance parlor, they have a disco floor. And take a look at these stop motion puppets that they made. They are styling. The attention to detail and the gowns, which are designed kind of like robe à la française, and the frock coat and jabot on the unicorn are incredible. I also love that each of them features an individual color that they're designed around. It just goes to show you that ads have a lot of amazing animation, stop motion, claymation, etc. hiding in them. I really encourage anyone to explore old commercials because you'll find characters that entrance you and delight you every time. Thanks so much for joining me in this horsey episode of Furry Found Footage. and I hope to get back to some more commercials another time. Thanks again to my Laserdisc Patreon supporters whom I love, including Goddle Drury, Crown, May Meadows, Manji, Miorja, Nemui, and Norman Whitetail. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time.